Alright, hello everyone and welcome to AEW Discussion. I'm your host, AEW enthusiast Dougie Doug. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing Dynamite, December 7th, 2022 episode. And, winter is coming up next week. AEW's already done. Already went ahead, and I don't know if they've announced the full card, but they got quite a bit, they got some matches announced for that one too. You have the continuation of the Best of 7 series between the Elite and Death Triangle. I think that's match 4. You got an AEW World Title match between MJF and Ricky Starks. And there's some other matches announced as well. And as for this episode of Dynamite, well, the Acclaimed would face perhaps their greatest threat to their title reign when they defend the titles against FTR. Also on the show, MJF, Jon Moxley, and also the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. And with that, we're going to get right into the action, starting with said Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. And a week ago, Ricky Starks would claim that he would win the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal and began the process of taking everything from MJF, beginning with the ring, and also ending with the world title when Winter is Coming. So that is a winner-take-all match. Winner of that match gets both the ring and the title. And Ricky started his quest on Wednesday night by fulfilling the first part of his quest by winning the Battle Royal contest. Now, this Battle Royal contest features some solid storytelling and an introduction of new stories and feuds such as Jungle Boy versus The Firm, and the latest in the ongoing program between Ethan Page and Matt Hardy. Whereas most Battle Royals are nondescript, a cheap way to take up a segment or two of television, this was a narrative tool that served a purpose and might have some long-reaching effects, or at the least, hopefully it does. After that, Battle Royal was perhaps one of the best promo segments of the year between Starks and MJF, who interrupted his post-match celebration. These guys took some personal shots at each other on the mic, hyped their match next week, and had the fans and Starks adopted the hometown of Austin red hot for him to win the title. For a company that has a tendency to overthink things or try to get too clever because of the guys in power positions in the company, this was well executed and created some good intrigue for next week's main event. So good work on short notice. TNT Championship match, Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe. So Allin would bite off a bit more than he could chew when he challenged Joe for the title, and it certainly looked that way early on. Joe, he dominated the action, tossing Allin around the ringside area like a ragdoll. Allin's body would also land on the concrete floor with a thud. And Joe would dominate the action until a momentary comeback attempt saw Allin score a near fall of a Code Red, but an ill-fated attempt at the coffin drop and land him in the arms of Joe, who put him to sleep with the Koki in the clutch for the victory. A post-match beatdown then followed, but that was halted by Wardlow, who chased Samoa Joe off. So this match, it might have been to some uncomfortable to watch at times, with each bump that Allin took appearing to come close to dealing him a significant injury. I wouldn't be surprised if he was at the very least sore. Actually, I would be surprised if he didn't hurt himself in this one too, but that's how Darby Allin is if you watched him long enough as an in-ring performer. On the other hand, this was also an impressive display of brutality from Samoa Joe, who looks to have rediscovered his killer edge and is ready to go on a potentially great run as TNT champion. The impending match with Wardlow should be a fun match and also a battle between two of the better big men in the company. And then the show concludes with the AEW World Tag Team Title Championship match, the Acclaimed versus FTR. And after some red-hot offense from Bowens and Caster, Harwood and Wheeler would seize control of the match, working over the ladder throughout the commercial. A hot take to Bowens allowed the champions to stay in the match as the action would pick up the pace. Late near falls ensued, and the drama was at its height as the two teams traded signature and finishing maneuvers. Ultimately, after a series of back and forth near falls, Wheeler would execute a near power bomb and would go for the jackknife pin, only for Caster to counter and hook his legs for the win. Good match that could have been even better, but unfortunately it looked like it ran into some time constraint issues, so the back stretch of the match got log jammed with a number of spots that didn't really have the time necessary in between to kind of let those spots breathe, let the guys sell those spots. ultimately they'll still turn out to be a good match. At FTR, they're probably about one or two of the best tag. They're probably one or two when you're talking about best tag team in wrestling right now. Yeah, and working and having them work with Bowens and Caster will help those two grow as wrestlers. Nice show of what these two teams are capable of, but a pay-per-view showdown will be needed to get the full effect of what these guys can do together in the ring. And yeah, so this episode of Dynamite pretty much I think put the finishing touches on Winter is coming. That should be a solid episode of television right there. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode of AEW Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like button down below.